Living in a constitutional republic means that criminals will sometimes get away with the crime. Anything less, and we would not be living in a constitutional republic. Police officers take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. This we know. But how many Americans realize that every state has its own respective state constitution, which police officers likewise raise their hand and swear an oath to protect and defend? A state's constitution must be in compliance with the federal constitution since the federal constitution, is the supreme law of the land. One oath to two constitutions. It seems to me like it would be in the best interest of every police officer to have a basic understanding of the U.S. Constitution and a person's constitutional rights. You have an officer who likes to go out and violate rights, and they don't care, there's no consequences. These same officers will be seeking out promotions, and to a person, they probably will be promoted. Well, now what they're doing is they're taking that anti-constitutional mindset and they're injecting it or embedding it deeper into the heart and soul of the agency. But when they get promoted, it isn't just, well, now I'm a supervisor, now I'm in a position of leadership. Now they're in a position of mentorship. Well, who is it they're mentoring to? That's right, they mentor rookie officers. Now, the arrow's pointing to the guy in the middle who did this in the movie Slapshot with Paul Newman. If you've never seen it, you need to stream it. Someone who hates the Constitution was promoted. Remember this from Jeff Gray?
Official complaint.
All right.
By the mayor of this city.
By the mayor?
By the mayor of this city. Doesn't matter if you commit a crime or not. You have to identify in reference to a complaint. You're going to jail. Period.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Sir, I'm standing on a public sidewalk engaged in constitutionally protected
Correct.
activity.
Correct. But I'm letting you know you're going to go to jail, no questions asked.
Even though I've explained to you that I'm engaged in constitutionally
You
protected...
don't need to explain anything to me because I literally don't care.
And some of these promotions, let's say it puts them in a position where they have control over the training program. Over time, it's just going to become systemic. The entire agency is going to be poisoned with this. We ignore the Constitution. It only gets in the way of making an arrest. Whatever impedes their ability to make an arrest, well, it becomes the enemy. It must be ignored or destroyed. Which leads us into the first and greatest irony. The only thing that can rein these officers in is the very thing that they find so detestable, the U.S. Constitution. They don't respect it, and they sure as hell don't fear it. This leads us into the second greatest irony. As these officers go out every day and violate the constitutional rights of the people they swore an oath to protect and serve, were they to find out that an officer, regardless of agency, had done to one of their family members what they like to do to everybody else, they would scream bloody effing murder. And that has a defense strategy, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that now leads us into the third greatest irony. The very same Constitution that they hate and they wage war against is the very same Constitution that protects their family members from bad officers like them. The Constitution which they hate is the Constitution that protects their family members from police officers just like them. With that in mind, how about we go kick some ass? As far as the second irony, let's go back to that, and I'm going to show you how you can apply it as part of a defense strategy. The second irony was, were they to find out that an officer, regardless of agency, had done to one of their family members what they like to do to everybody else, they would scream bloody effing murder. In other words, they can get away with it, but nobody else can. That level of professional hypocrisy is indefensible, and that's what you're going to point out. So how do you do it? Well, you have to start by doing two things. Number one, you have to remove yourself completely from the situation, and I'm talking as if it never happened to you. The second thing you have to do is the bad officer, the one who's on the stand as you're cross-examining or your defense attorney is cross-examining, you have to remove them fully from the equation as well. For purposes of illustration, allow me to use myself as the example because I love being made an example of. Wait, I'm the defense attorney. You are falsely arrested by Officer Stupid Idiot there for Disorderly conduct. I notice he drew the swastika on his hat backwards. So he falsely arrested you for disorderly conduct. What was it that led to your arrest by Officer Stupid Idiot? You were standing on a sidewalk in front of City Hall holding a sign that read, "God bless our homeless veterans." Several courthouse employees said that your presence was making them feel nervous and uncomfortable. Also, one or two people had walked by you, gone up the steps into the courthouse, and told the people in the courthouse that your presence made them feel nervous and uncomfortable. They called the heroes in blue, the 911. They show up. Because of what you're doing, you caused this. That's disorderly conduct, and off jail you went. They seized your sign, too, because that was evidence of whatever crime they wanted to make up. That's the premise. As a sidebar, at times I will be making statements in lieu of asking questions. Each statement can be converted to a question nonetheless. So what's step number one? You have to remove yourself as the defendant. Who do you replace yourself with? A family member of Officer Stupid Idiot. A generic family member. No spouses, no names, no nothing. No references to kids. If this had happened to a family member of yours. Step 3, believe it or not, is to remove Officer Stupid Idiot from the situation. Remove Officer Stupid Idiot from the situation and insert in their place another second officer, a nameless, faceless second officer. And here's how it goes. Officer Stupid Idiot, in the name of fairness to all parties involved, I just want to make sure I understand clearly what your thought process was that led to you arresting my client for the alleged crime of disorderly conduct. He was standing on a sidewalk, peaceably, I remind you, in front of City Hall, holding a sign that read, what was the message on the sign again? God bless our homeless veterans. Do you have something against homeless veterans, officer? Do you have something against God? Something against God and homeless veterans? Officer, I'm not suggesting that this is what motivated you, but can you not see the potential for abuse where a different officer would use the complaints of the people in City Hall as the excuse or reason to make the arrest for disorderly conduct, when in fact it was more because they didn't like the words on my client's sign? Do you at least recognize or acknowledge the potential for abuse? Officer, you testified that the reason you arrested my client for disorderly conduct was because his presence made the people in City Hall uncomfortable. His presence made them feel nervous. Okay, hold on, officer. You arrested my client for disorderly conduct not based upon what he was doing at the time. Instead, you arrested him for disorderly conduct based upon the way people reacted to what he was doing at the time, which means what he was doing at the time was legal, it was lawful, and it sure as heck was constitutional. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had to use something as nebulous as personal feeling to serve as the basis of your probable cause to falsely arrest my client for disorderly conduct. Let me ask you the logical follow-up question, officer. Do you enforce the law, or do you enforce personal feelings? This next question, I only want a yes or no response. I don't want you to elaborate. I don't want you to pontificate. It's either yes or no. Under the very same set of circumstances, had it been, let's say, somebody other than my client, that it was in fact a close family member of yours, doing nothing more than standing peaceably on a public sidewalk in front of City Hall, holding a sign that read, God bless our homeless veterans. Yet they found themselves being chained, caged, humiliated, charged, and maliciously prosecuted. Is it your sworn testimony right here and right now that you would have been perfectly okay with that arrest of your loved one? You would have given it your unmitigated seal of approval. You would have said, amen, righteous, let's move on to the next family member. Or is your reaction more likely to be livid with the arresting officer, questioning how in the world that officer thought it'd be a good and necessary arrest to throw your close family member into a cage for doing nothing more than holding a sign that read, God bless our homeless veterans? Officer, when you arrested my client for holding a sign that read, God bless our homeless veterans, did that arrest take place in the United States of America or the People's Republic of North Korea? One last question, officer. What if, instead of God bless our homeless veterans, that the message on my client's sign read, God bless our local police officers? Is it your testimony today that you still would have gone ahead and made the arrest? Or, Officer Stupid Idiot, would you have made the arrest because you literally don't care? Guys, when I do these false arrest analyses, the bottom line is that I could do this all day long. I probably haven't covered half of the points that, when assembled, would comprise a comprehensive defense strategy. I don't mind doing this at all, because the hope is that somebody down the road might be able to use this information to beat a false arrest, a false charge. I mean, what were the odds that, what was it, a couple, 3 years ago, that I would actually be able to help San Joaquin Valley Transparency beat a false charge? And I think it might have been disorderly conduct. We utilized a different strategy if it was, but it was a strategy that worked nonetheless. No, I don't mind helping at all if we can help someone out. And happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. You guys are awesome. I am very thankful for each and every one of you. So take care, stay safe, and I'm DB McCrae, and I'm out.